Hello, and welcome to another meeting of the Geek Cabal Whisperings. This is going to be a topic on Ahsoka Episode 6, which, again, we just watched minutes ago. This is the day it came out, so this time we're all fresh to the...
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
And, I mean, just... Obviously, we're going to go into spoilers. There's not going to be, any of the whatever. So spoiler alerts. If you don't want to, any spoilers, wait till you watch the episode, then come back and see if you agree with us. Anyways, I'm Jim.
I'm Owen.
Bob.
Maybe I'll get that in the right order at some point. But do the introductions first and then go into the stuff. But it's all right.
No, that's fine. Jim.
It's all right. But I'm gonna say for overall, I think this is probably one of the best episodes so far. I think pacing was pretty good. I think the story made sense on where they cut it, where they had it, where they started it, where it ended. Right now, there isn't any plot points that was just like, well, that's stupid. I mean, there were some things that made me wonder, like Thrawn's Star Destroyer missing a few engines makes me wonder how well it should be able to hold itself up in atmosphere, but I don't know how repulsor lifts or the repulsor technology works on a Star Destroyer, because that may be not the engines, that may be...
Yeah, I'm assuming it's not the engines. However, like you said, who knows? Because to your point, it's definitely missing some other parts too. Like, they're definitely, I don't know if they've been cannibalizing it, or if it's just from the being gripped by the space whale and sucked through hyperspace, or what the story there is.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I say that. I'm still waiting to, I mean, now it's giving you a little bit of intrigue on Baylan. I'm gonna say Shin had probably the most character development I think she's had in the entire...
Yeah, I think she spoke more in this episode than all the others combined.
And actually kind of gave her some, more character, something that actually kind of goes, well, I'm kind of interested in what her thoughts on some of this stuff is, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was a different writer or if they just, or what happened with this one, because I think the quality just seemed like it was better. And I mean, obviously the special effects still all look great. I mean, it's mostly just Star Destroyer,
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta give a hand to whoever's piloting the Star Destroyer. That's kind of a tight little maneuver there.
Yeah. But, that's reminiscent to Rogue One, kind of where they positioning it right over top of... when they positioned it over top of Jeddah, but there they didn't have a giant rod going up through it, so...
Yeah. You gotta watch out for those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought pretty much everything was on point, and I don't know what it says that the episode that's almost entirely the B plot, we're calling one of the better ones here. The fact that the only part of the episode that was kind of slow was the part with Ahsoka in it. Like, now we're to the other part, like, to figure out the what the hell's going on episode.
Well, and I think, obviously, there was, I think even with Ahsoka's parts, I mean, there was some idea that her interaction with Anakin has her questioning a lot of things. And it's funny because you mentioned last episode about Ahsoka the White.
Yeah.
And the parallels that this looking like a Lord of the Rings movie now is more and more, because it looks like we had...
the Night Sister City looks like Gondor. They're in the...
Minas Tirith,
yeah.
You had some towers there, so...
You got that. You've got the kind of wastelandy area. They're apparently riding around on wargs. I was waiting for the natives to be orcs at a certain point,
But we got crab people.
Yeah, and to that point, it was nice that they didn't all magically just understand each other. Like, you're in another galaxy, forget another planet. Like their languages shouldn't even be like of a similar origin.
But that was one of the few things that, like, some people are like, well, she's there trying to speak, basic or whatever to these natives. Well, that's what people do because people don't know how to
Oh
communicate.
yeah,
Else,
sure, yeah. I'm
no,
not
no, no.
trying to.
I know, but I
Yeah,
mean, if people go back and go, well, if she's there trying to, I'm like, well, of course they're going to because no one's. You do that in real life. If you go to another country, you're going to be trying to talk to the people in your own language and be like,
right. Well, because what else? Like, unless you happen to speak it, which she obviously doesn't, because she's not from that galaxy. Like, unless she's got the energon thing and is going to go for the galactic greeting, which I don't even know if that works in another galaxy. Uh, the old Ba Wheat Grana Wheat Minibon, I
yeah,
believe.
yes, and
If I'm to trust Cup, which that actually didn't work out too well for Cup. The Sharkticon still attacked.
all right, Owen, give us the
Uh,
youth view on.
I thought the episode was pretty good. There are some obviously questions I have, which I hope will be resolved in the next episode.
Okay, what questions are those? We want to know.
Well, I was wondering what the whole deal was with Thrawn's troopers, because something about them just seemed off to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't think of what movie it is, but his one lead person, Enoch or whatever, that had
Yeah.
the mask.
Gladiator?
Yeah, that's right. That's what it came from.
Well, like Tigris de Gaulle, the guy that Russell Crowe fights
Yeah.
1-on-1 in the arena.
Yeah.
It's Tigris de Gaulle.
Yes, that's exactly. I knew I saw that somewhere. But
Yeah, it's not exactly like that, but it's a very I don't want to call it Roman-esque, but it is essentially Roman-esque, or like a like you see like the actors' faces. I don't know
yeah,
what those are called, like the masks, but
yeah,
it looks a lot like that, except it's the golden color. Uh, there were rumors beforehand that that was Ezra, and that, like, he and Thrawn had somehow like come to an arrangement of some kind, and that has turned out to not to be true, as near as we can tell.
yeah. Well, and I guess if my one thing I said right during the thing, and I knew it was going to happen, is that Sabine, when as soon as he asked, how did you get here? Well, and I'm just like, at some point you're going to have to realize just telling the truth is going to be the better solution than dragging it out. And I mean,
Well, right. So, I mean, what else are you going to ask? There's two questions. How's everyone doing? And how did you find me?
If I had to choose one part of the episode I don't really understand, it would probably be that part, because Thrawn was like, "Hey, if you're not back here, I'm just going to leave."
Well, he didn't say if you're not back here. He said, once I leave, you're going to be stranded here. And I don't think he meant that as a, you're welcome to come back with us. I think it was more like the one guy said, I will.
Yeah, I didn't remember exactly what he said.
but no, and I see what they're doing because they're kind of building up to, well, it's a plot that you usually see in romantic comedies or whatever, where one person doesn't want to scare away, the love interest. They hold the information back, and then they're like, "Well, why weren't you just honest with me in the first place?"
Yeah.
I kind of see that going, but again, I'm not going to hold that against her because she just met it, just found him again, and she's just like, I don't want to ruin that moment. It's something that a person would do because
Yeah.
you just met them. I mean, it's not like you're going to go, hey, by the way, I gave Thrawn the means to escape as your first. But that should be very shortly behind the, hey, it's nice to, get to see you again and all that stuff. I, missed you, all this stuff. Oh, yeah, and I hate to say it, but the only way I was able to get here was pretty much by giving Thrawn his way out.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think Ezra, I mean, well, I'm pretty sure Ezra's going to be a little pissed. He's like, it worked, right? It worked, right?
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
He should know it didn't work. Or he should know it worked. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's seen Thrawn's Star Destroyer floating around.
yeah. Well, I think he means the whole, like, so if Thrawn wasn't there, like, did the rebels win?
Oh,
I that's the way I took it.
okay.
I could be wrong though. Because yeah, I mean that like I said, that falls under the so how's everyone else question. Um, yeah, I mean, well, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be Sabine. Why didn't you tell me? And well, I'm still basically a teenager, even though I'm like 30 some odd years old.
Yeah, and I'm glad they kept Elon Thrawn on there for
Yes, aboard the Chimera X.
Yes, for as long as they, and then that and he actually had dialogue. It wasn't just like, and here's Elon Thrawn, I'm saying that because to me, Thrawn resembles like Elon Musk as Admiral Thrawn, and I don't know, something with like the makeup or however they did it, maybe the slick back hair or something, just gives me that impression.
Yeah, so folks, that does mean I was wrong in my prediction of we'll see Thrawn in the last 5 minutes of the last episode. We actually have 2 episodes left, and all the characters are heading towards Thrawn, so.
I'm just hoping, I do still hope that he makes his way back and it's not just end of things. I want it to be like doom and gloom, how are we gonna resolve this in the next season kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming with the condition that his ship is in, once he gets back, it's going to be time for a trade-in of some kind. Because I mean, it's not combat worthy the way it looks at the moment. If I have to assume, because giant chunks of armor plating missing just invites random rebel torpedoes. I mean, they have problems with that already. Yeah. They don't need to make it easier for them.
You mean for gosh, what you said the name of the one X-wing pilot?
Oh, yeah. What is his name? Keep going. I've got it on my phone.
Well, because the one thing that I've seen the prevailing theories is that the reason he's in all this is that he's going to be making a heroic sacrifice.
Oh no! I don't want that to happen.
Now,
Carson Teva.
Yeah, yes. So yes, either he'll be the one that saves the day, delays the inevitable, but yeah, there's a talk about that. The way they're building up his character, it's like they're building him up for the heroic sacrifice.
That'd be a shame.
But.
Yeah, just overall though, I did, like I said, I liked the episode. I did like everything going on there on the alien planet. Like that's the kind of thing I expected of Star Wars. I don't expect, this is basically space New York. This is also basically space New York. Oh, here's space Saudi Arabia. Like it looked different. There were alien creatures that were clearly like people put some thought into their design and everything, and their weird little kind of seashell mobile homes made out of metal there, and their back they can hide as rocks and all that. That was all. I thought all that was really nice.
Well, the one issue that I think all of Star Wars has had is that they've got this idea of a single biome. Now, don't get me wrong, Tatooine, a desert planet, would be one of the exceptions of a single biome. Same thing with Hoth being an ice planet. But if you have a temperate climate, you should have ice at the poles because of the way the sun hits or whatever, or it'll be colder at the poles, warmer in the middle.
Not under the Palpatine regime, Jim. One planet, one biome.
Or I mean, you got Coruscant. The entire planet's a city. Not much room there for a biome.
Yeah, well, and that's just a city built on top of other cities and on top of other cities. But no, I mean,
well, there's that one point where the one rock sticks up.
Yeah, and that's like
it was referenced in 2 episodes of various shows.
For some reason,
but no, I mean, no. To your point, yeah. I mean, off of the planet, the one thing, Bobby, you mentioned was the decayed space wells in space.
Yeah, so we find out that the whales basically go there to die, apparently. So sad trombone music for the whale fleet coming in there, but they shouldn't decay in space because there's no atmosphere, and there's no like bacteria to eat them, and there's nothing there.
Well. So there's a couple of thoughts I had on that. Well, first of all, my comment when I first saw that, and they're like, "Oh, this is where the whales come to die." I'm like, "Lion King, the elephant graveyard here." Yeah. That's like actually one of the. I was actually surprised that Disney put that into a movie at some point because the elephant graveyard. So there is to the point like bacteria in your own body will eat you from the inside out.
Sure,
but like the Minox and the space slugs and all of those things. I mean, they live in space. There could be a life form like that.
Did the Minox really live in space?
They could survive in space.
Yeah, but they weren't in space the one time we've seen them.
I know, but the point is that there's always a.
Plus, if I may, Jim, the Minox are in another galaxy.
I know they are, but I'm giving examples of creatures
that
can survive in space.
I'm sure that they could come up with some kind of something for it because we're already dealing with a creature that lives in space. I'm just saying that
because
it's an absolutely sterile environment, like nothing decays.
Well, I'm not, and that's what I'm saying is that the only solution would be something out there cleaning it up, and to me that would make it perfect sense because if they're going to be dead in space, there's going to be something that's going to evolve to clean up what's in space. Maybe.
I question that because it would have to already be something that already lives there. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be something on a planet that's like, there's something juicy up there. Let's keep trying until one of us can survive. Like that's.
Well, how did the whales get into space?
I don't know, but what I'm saying is just there's not very many of them. They're
Maybe
only in a handful of locations. Like the odds of there being like other things evolved along with them. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's obviously it's Star Wars, it's fiction. They can do whatever they want. I'm just saying it's like, oh, this thing that we threw in there that doesn't make sense. We didn't have to include that. We now have to include some other baloney to make it make sense. That's like the overarching Star Wars problem.
See, what they should have done is that when the whales die, they die close enough to the planet that they just get sucked in the atmosphere and burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, or like set themselves on a collision course with a star.
Could you imagine that the
funeral pyre for the whales?
Can you imagine that you're there just living your life on the
and the giant space whale just goes fiery blubber just crashes into you? Yeah, that wouldn't be pretty.
Maybe the space whales become cannibals and they eat. Okay. Here's a perfect example. Those space whales are like the humpback whales on Earth. They have filter feeding kind of thing, like where they have like they would eat plankton. Maybe it's whatever they're eating there that eats them.
I mean, but you see what I'm saying though. Like it was unnecessary. Like it looks cool, I get it, and I'm assuming that's what we're supposed to believe all the debris in that ring is. But like, it's just throwing something in there because it looks cool, and then to make it make sense, you've got to do other things. It's like this is literally just like the Holdo maneuver. As far as like it looks cool, that's why we did it, but we didn't think about it.
Yeah, because if that was the case, then all you do is just start attaching hyperdrives to asteroids.
Right. And let's not, don't need to relitigate the Holdo maneuver. We all know it's stupid. Even the third movie knew it was stupid.
So, and to be honest, if that's like our biggest beef is the fact of how whales are.
This is in no way like I'm not like, oh damn, I got taken out of the episode 5 minutes into it. The rest of it sucked. Like no. It's just one of those like, as you're watching it, you're like, if you know anything about space, you're like, I don't really think this should work, but then again, I should probably think that about half the things in Star Wars. So
I don't know. Maybe there's like a solar wind that just comes in and just incinerates everything.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an explanation. Maybe the Dathomiri are sitting there and like using their Sith magic and tearing them to pieces and eating the blubber to light their candles or something down the surface.
Their whale oil.
Yeah. They're the only place left in 2 galaxies that still uses whale oil.
You see, there's Captain Ahab up there flying in a ship, harpooning space whales.
Yeah, maybe that's why the Chimera is so banged up.
All right, Owen, what do you got?
I thought they portrayed Thrawn pretty well.
Well, yeah, it's the same voice actor.
Yeah.
So, I guess they got kind of lucky there that the voice actor could also play off the actual acting role.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten up for a couple of them now. Him and Bo-Katan. Now, Saw Gerrera was like a reverse engineer kind of deal. It was after he appeared in Rogue One that all of a sudden Forrest Whitaker did his voice for the remainder of his appearances.
Well, yeah, because in the Clone Wars, he was kind of a little bit different individual at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he wasn't half robot.
Yeah. Which is you saw all of Andor, right?
Yeah.
So you saw that he wasn't quite there yet in Andor. Also, I think he still had both of his feet at least. So.
All right.
Well. But no, I just have one other little comment here. I find it absolutely amazing that they've taken the Night Sisters, which appeared in all of one book in the old EU, and had none of this backstory. They were literally just female Force users stuck on one planet. And this has morphed into
female Force users stuck on 2 planets.
Well, but like the magic, the bringing people back from the dead. We actually really came from this other galaxy, and it's all like, no, they were really just like Force sensitives, and like once women hit a certain age and got kind of ugly, they had to go join the Night Sisters or die. And none of the dudes had Force powers, and so like that was the planetary setup. And as soon as Palpatine realized they were there, he ordered the Star Destroyer in orbit to bomb the base that was there to make sure no one could leave the planet, because no competition to his rule. Like, that was it. Like, that's beginning end. That's the Night Sisters in the old EU. They're in one book, The Courtship of Princess Leia. That's it. And we've gone from that to this expansive. We've gone through.
Well, I'm sure
they showed up in the Clone Wars. I think they got destroyed in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. So this.
And then now.
So they've been massacred twice.
Yeah.
But at least they explain it, because they were always, like in the Clone Wars and stuff, they were always beast riding type. They rode Rancor, so it actually kind of ties back that they rode the whales too.
Well, the Rancor riding's from the book, like on Dathomir, they have Rancors they ride. So, but yeah, I just like of all things, like there's just all kinds of other like Force users and other like orders. And they picked the one that's in one book. And like, let's go with this one instead of any of the others. So but I just find that, just from a creative standpoint, it's kind of interesting. So
I was gonna say, in all media though, the Dathomirian witches have been in everything. So Jedi Fallen Order, they're in there.
I'm sure that's because it all spins out of Disneyland, but.
Well, I think it originally spun out of the Clone Wars, which I don't know if Clone Wars was under Disney's rule at that time.
Well, just saying, like, after a certain point it was. But, to your point, initially it wasn't. So, I don't know. Just saying that, like, in the old EU, it was single appearance, that's it. So, I think it's also the book that Warlord Zinj gets killed. Where they deployed the orbital night cloak system of satellites. They all link together and block out the sun to just freeze the planet.
It seems much more cost effective than the battle station.
Well, I say that should have been what happened almost immediately to Ilum in The Force Awakens, because they were stuck in like the energy from the sun, which first of all, I don't know how that would even work, because unless you're like right next to it, any sort of extraction.
Well, I assume that they were. And then I assume that they also like left and went to a different star. Because I'm assuming that's a trick you can really only pull once.
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much flying a planet around, I guess you can only.
Well, I mean, they turned the center of the planet into a giant weapon. I'm sure they mounted a hyperdrive on it somewhere.
So. Who knows? All right, well.
Presumably Snoke, but, he had to split, so we don't know for sure.
Yeah, he had stomach pains and had to leave.
Half the man he used to be.
But in Star Wars land, that doesn't seem to stop anybody anymore, so why it stops Snoke is...
Well, I'm assuming that Kylo Ren had the good sense to go over and then, like, lop his head off or something afterwards.
I mean, I do at least give them credit that when they cut him in half, they also cut, like, because the way he was sitting, cut his hands off, too. It was just his upper torso. But I would have liked to see, like, what they did with Maul and have him come back with a spider body. All right. Well, like I said, I don't want to drag this on too long, because honestly, I mean, it's a good episode. I think we've got all the points covered on it, so.
Yeah. Looking forward to the last two. Hopefully we'll actually hear what Baylan Skoll's all about, because he didn't really make his case to Thrawn, and Thrawn seems pretty content to leave him behind too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I say my general impression on that is that he wants to build something like the Jedi Order, but not the way the Jedi handled things.
Right. Well, he keeps saying something about the beginning and a greater power, and I'm beginning to think that they're going to try to say that the Force actually originates there, or the Jedi Order actually originates there, or something, and that he wants to literally go back to the beginning and like take whatever it is with him and build something better from the ashes, like Apocalypse and X-Men Apocalypse. But first, he has to create those ashes. So.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's all that we're gonna have today on that because we're gonna get this video up there in YouTube land as soon as we can. So,
yep.
Definitely let us know what you think down in the comments below. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? What did you think about it?
Should we be hating this like half the other people on YouTube? Are we fools that we kind of like it? On that note, I just want to throw out that I don't consider any of us shilling for Disney here because, at least on my part, and I know Jim has as well, like, we've definitely laid out some problems we've had with the show thus far. Because there's one guy that definitely has, like, compilation videos of, like, people just, like, completely shilling, like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. And people literally have episodes saying, this is the episode that's going to save Disney. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Well,
and that, by the way, was episode 5 they were saying that about, just to be clear.
And I think this is an instance where sometimes you do separate the art from the artist kind of thing. It's like you can have a terrible company produce a good thing. And I don't say Disney's terrible. I'm just saying you can have a terrible company.
Go ahead, Jim. Say it. They are. We all know they are.
You can have a terrible company that produces a good thing, and then you can have a good company to develop a terrible thing. So,
well, right. It's like we have to acknowledge that even though I'm assuming all basically think that Kathleen Kennedy is like the worst thing to ever happen to Star Wars, somehow under her Rogue One was created, somehow under her Andor was created. Like, good things have come out of this. I think the bad outweighs the good, but there has been quality material made. Ahsoka, to me, thus far, is on the quality side, but it's got problems. And maybe they'll be resolved in the next 2 episodes. I don't know.
And I would say the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were
the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were really good. The third one, not so much, but you can't win them all. As Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yep.
But anyway, just to my larger point, I hope no one out there takes us to be shilling for Disney here, because we're really not. Like, I'll be abundantly clear in my opinion on Disney's products, and I know Jim will as well.
Yeah.
But and I assume you would too. But yeah, I've seen people say that, and I mean, even the drinker, who's very critical of this show, has admitted parts of the show are good. He thinks they're few and far between, more than us, but I mean, thus far I'm entertained. That's the main thing I look for. A lot of these little nitpicks I don't really understand until I see other people talking about them later.
Well, and I think there have been some shows where I attempted to try to binge watch the entire thing and I couldn't get through it. Like Picard season 2, that was one that I started watching it and it got so bad. But then I got through that one, got into the third one and realized it was a good show and all that. I'm not having that problem here. There isn't an episode that is so awful that I have no desire to come back to it.
Yes. Excuse me.
Yet.
Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to each new episode despite the problems. So.
All right. Well, anyways, I rambled on even more during the outro here.
Closing thoughts from you there, Owen?
Can't wait to see what episode 7 and 8 will bring.
And what the titles will be. So for some reason on Disney Plus, Part 6 was just called Part 6, while every other one had a subtitled episode.
Even though the episode had a subtitle once it started.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it was
far away.
Oh, okay. That was weird, because on my TV it just had
Part 6. But it was, to Jim's point, on Disney Plus, like the episodes, it just had episode 6. So we were debating that if the next one's literally just going to be like the number 7, the last one's just going to be just nothing. Just a picture. Thumbnail. From like Rebels. Wanting to be from the right show.
There we go. All right. Well, as I said, we talked about leaving the comments. Definitely, like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because definitely trying to grow the channel. Let us, give the feedback that we need. And yeah, I guess we'll see you back then on episode 7.
Until then, may the force be with you.
Always.